Hi my friends, how are you? I am Rakyne Awaan. Welcome back to my new video. Hope you guys are fine, having a great time. I'm also fine. Today in this video, I'm gonna show you guys about medieval transport. Transport is a very important thing in our daily lives. We go to school, we go to office, we go to meet our friends. Sometimes we go abroad, we go for vacation. We transport in various different ways, like sea, land, air. We go abroad by the plane, air. We go to the cruise ship. We use buses, we use cars. But it was not like that 500 years ago or 1000 years ago. It was quite different. Modern days, you will go in the car, turn on the AC, turn on the radio, just chill and just drive very comfortably. But it wasn't a thing back then. Back then, like 100 kilometers, if you want to go 100 kilometers, back then it was a big challenge. I mean, it was a big thing. And now every day the officer or people who work or go to school, or sometimes there are people even the 1100 or 200 kilometers in a big matter a day to travel. But back then there were not cars, the roads were not safe, there were risk of getting robbed, risk of getting eaten by bears and tigers, etc. And you have to walk. Even the horse carriages and the carriages that were pulled by cows and buffaloes, they seemed to be a nice choice at that time, but they were not that much comforting to think. It was shaky, the wheels would break very fast, etc. At medieval times, the roads were like mud paths. Only concrete roads were in cities, like big cities, like the capital or a governing city where a governor or a king lived in the city, or a castle. They only had like bricked roads. Otherwise, the normal roads were mud roads. So if if it was rainy at that time and you went outside with your carriage, you were stuck there because the roads were muddy and the tires always broke or get stuck in the mud. If they got stuck in the mud, it would be a big hassle to get them out. So there were lots of problems in the carriages as well. Also, there were lots of people at that time who walked miles after miles, like people who went to pilgrimage, who went, like an average man would just walk 40 kilometers a day to go somewhere. They always went in a team or a group, or 5 or 4 or 7, 10. More is better, so they don't get attacked by robbers or hostile animals. At that time, they will travel, they will carry water, they would use sticks to support the long distance. In modern days, us humans can't even walk 30 miles a day, because at that time people were more strong, they were more healthy. It was not that a big matter for them to travel this much distance. Also, there were horsemen. The horses were mainly used by the knights, kings, monarchs, dukes, governors, the rich and wealthy people of the city or that time. They only had horses. The horse breed was a luxury at that time. If you have a rare horse, it's like having a rare car at that time. Like you have a Toyota, it's a common car. But when you have a BMW, it's a way level up. When you have a common horse breed, it's a normal horse. When you have very expensive, like Hussar or Mongolian, very rare horses or fancy horses, a different breed, it was like a luxury that time. Like they would it had they had the value of like BMW cars at that time, or luxury cars. Like the common breed of the horses were like common horses. They weren't that much expensive and wasn't that much rare. Okay, now the second part of this video, shipping. Transporting by ships. In modern days, we have very big ships and machineries like container, cargo ships, tanker, oil tankers, cruise ships. At that time, they used ships. They were made by wood mainly. They had ships and boats. Boats were much smaller and used to go shorter distance, and ships were much more larger, made with wood. They had big sails. Some ship has like 4 sail poles, and they were very big ships. These ships they used for trading, military purposes, also tourism. tourism was a thing back then. In ancient Romans, they would visit Alexandria for vacation at that time. So vacation was a thing back then. But shipping was that not that much, you can say, not that much comforting at that time as well. Because when you go in a ship, you could be sick. You could be sick in the ship. Like you would vomit, you could have pimples, you have diseases, like living in the ship for days after days. So they always docked in land after a few days and after. Like why they took that much time by transporting? Like they took months. Like why months? Because max of the time was layover. Like modern days when we go to the plane, like suppose you're going to USA, you will land it in Dubai for refueling. Because the captains and the workers of the ship often get sick, so they didn't want they get them sick, so they always docked in certain islands or certain territories for food and rest. Like if they traveled like 5 days, they would stay in land for 2 days, then they will go on again. They did this to avoid sickness and diseases. So the transport was very hard that time. It's not that comforting as the modern days. But in modern days we have cars, planes and ships, etc. But back then we have to remember, like our ancestors, they traveled very hard. They worked a lot. They were very hardworking back then. So it was not a big matter. So in modern day humans, we are not that strong as our ancestors because they ate fresh. They ate fresh.